my goodness. You do not understand how happy. Like I am excited to be back making my videos. And I talk with my hands because you guys, it's probably since I've sat down and made like a real video was back in, what was Mother's Day? May. I would say that was the last time where I like really sat down and made videos. I posted like a vlog with my cousin's birthday party back in June, but that was just kind of like a filler content thing. But you guys just don't understand. Well, first because I've been gone. Welcome back to Shay Say. This is Shay. Full name is Marshay, but I kind of just go by Shay now. Slowly advanced into that. It's raining outside, so you might hear some extra background noise and everything. So if you have not already, and I know we're kind of like new to this thing, I want to welcome all of the new people and all of my returning viewers, followers. I'm just like super excited to be back. I plan to film today, then I also was shooting some other content and I'm about to play around with all of that. So you kind of get like a full look today. I'm also practicing like my makeup skills. I'm just really happy to be back. You guys don't understand, for the past few months, especially towards like the end of April-ish up until like early September, this video can go two ways, but I think it might be a 2 for 1, honestly, or it might be like 2 and 2. I don't know. We'll see when I edit it down. Just flow with me. But yeah, from like April up until early September, I was in this state of where I felt like my life was kind of turned upside down. Lots of changes, lots and lots of changes. As you can see, my background is different from what you're like used to and everything. So this is kind of like a life update. If you have not subscribed or just checked out, honestly, just first check out my written blog. That's blog with a V. Check it out. I will link it in the description box at shaysay.com. It's such a tongue twister. shaysay.com. There's a new vlog post, not vlogs. I'm used to doing vlogs. I kind of got back into like a writing space. There's a new blog post. Finally start sharing my real story. Like my real story. Of course, we have wine. I already been like drinking. I had a little cup or whatever. This is the Sweet Bee wine. It's a Moscato Rosé. I'm not really a rosé girl. I'm more Moscato. And it's a lot of sugar, so I'm about to go eat dinner afterwards because I already feel it rushing to my head, which means tomorrow is a big coffee day for me. So today is a life update video. So starting back in April, May, well, first let's start off with saying I moved. My mother, brother, and I moved, and then my cousin and her girls, they moved. So I used to live in a 2-family house in the Cleveland area, and we moved there when I was 16. I turned 27 back in August, so we moved when I was 26 still. So I've been there since literally for 10 years. My brother grew up there for most of his childhood. It's a very nice, it was like home. It was a nice house. And then my cousin and the girls, they moved in about, let me see, one is like 8, so she was 3 or 4, so I'll say like 24. No, that's not right. That math ain't mathing. Maybe like 2016, 2017, they moved in. So the whole family lived in this house. They lived downstairs. We lived upstairs, and I lived on the third floor. It was 3 floors, so I had my own little floor. Loved it. I wasn't that teenager that like was sneaky or was rebellious. I always told people that was the perfect spot if you wanted to like sneak people company. And I mean, we did in a sense in 12th grade. We did, because it was a door, and like the front door, the side door, and then to get to my unit, it was its own separate door. So I had my friends over, my boyfriend at the time, a few boyfriends, well, not a lot, but like whoever I dated. And I remember one time, wasn't supposed to be over there, and my mom had pulled up early, and yeah, I got away with it. Like, she didn't know he was there, because I was like, you have to walk down the stairs. Like, when my foot hits the step, your foot needs to hit. But it was a good house. It was a good setup. I enjoyed having just family there. You know, the girls, I've had both of them since they were babies, so just them being downstairs. Then they got Orion. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw me tag him a lot talking about baby, and he was definitely, like, I definitely understand emotional support dogs and all of that, because when I had my days where I was sad and I need like a pick-me-up, he was there. So why did we move, and where was I at in my life also back then? So at the start of the year, and really this all started, that's why I said this might be like a 2-for-1 video, because it's all really started, my life is completely different from this time last year to now. So at the start of the year, I was working this job. I had just started beauty school for aesthetics, which is skincare, waxing, makeup, all of that stuff, lashes, all of it. So I had started school for that, and I was working this job, and I work with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I had a teacher's assistant job at a special education services school, but my spirit was like, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do it. So I didn't go that day. But now I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I don't have a job. And I was just in distress. Like, I called my older cousin on the side street and had a full, I had a full breakdown. Like, a full breakdown. Like, she answered the phone like, you good? And I'm like, I couldn't even talk. And honestly, at that time, I was keeping it off and secret. Let me tell you, I had already went through this cycle the year before. So you have to realize when your life is going in cycles, and then you change it when you get tired of it. So I'm dealing with all of this. Also, everything in my life was just not it. Like, money, myself, relationships. I was a hot mess. So I'm sitting here, I'm doing Instacart, I'm doing, Amazon Flex. They sent me, I live in the city, they sent me to like this far out place. And then my confidence was low, my self-esteem was very, like, it was all just contrary to whatever I was putting out into the world. It was all very much down in the dumps. So I did all of that, and then I'm trying to find these jobs, and I don't know, honestly, both times I always say, like, I want to ask myself, what were you what was you on back then? What was you on? But like they say, you give yourself grace and room to grow and everything. So I'm looking for jobs, and I'm applying to jobs. I'm getting them, but I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then also I'm applying to jobs. So like I said, my self-esteem and my confidence was low. So I'm applying to jobs that's super easy to get into, but the pay is super, super dirt cheap. And I accepted one. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just don't. Also, something in my spirit was just like with that one, kind of like with both, honestly, but it was like, yeah, no, I don't know about that. All in the developmental disability realm. Then I finally accepted a job like mid-September at this daycare. It was one-star daycare. And I know I started with point A, but we're going to connect point A to this. I'm just giving you a quick background. So started this daycare. It was 1-star, family-owned business. Yeah, that it just, the 1-star says a lot right there. I was a, what was it, baby and infant toddler assistant teacher. The pay, gosh, was don't ever accept anything out of desperation and know your standards, because I was very desperate. Very desperate. My bills was late. My car note was definitely late. Definitely late. So I accepted the job. I was getting paid $9.50. When I tell you, I was so, like, I guess I could say depressed. I had never, just like the one girl I worked with, she was cool, but you gotta think it's a 1-star daycare. So the babies, like the guidance that they have at home, it's like the teacher and you is trying to instill things in the babies, but if the parents are not backing it up, and you're dealing with young, ghetto, ratchet parents, all of this stuff, what do you expect the babies to do? Like, the babies are sitting there hitting each other, like really hitting each other, and it was just too much to deal with. The pace sucked. I'm driving across town with no gas. I don't think I ever had to call in so many favors. Now, don't get it twisted. I had to ask like my family for help, but at that point, I had to really like call in a lot of favors. Sitting there breaking down, not knowing if I'm gonna have enough gas to get home. I'm dealing, God, the first day, little boy jumped off the changing table and like busted his nose on me. And the girl I was working with, they like left me in the room by myself. I was like, only me that this would happen to. They tried to throw me under the bus, but the owner, she was she had my back. She was like, you know, that kid, he does that all the time. Every day. The one coworker I actually worked with in the morning, she was really cool out of all of them. The other girl, I really thought that her and I was gonna have to fight, and y'all know me, I'm not a fighter like at heart, but the way that she was moving and how she was trying to talk, I was like, yeah, one of us, we ain't gonna make it. We not gonna make it. And she tried to talk like tough one time, and I was like, excuse me. And then the little baby that she also adored, she adored me so much. And I'm like, you hating because the baby that you know how people be like all territorial about babies and stuff, like I can't help that the baby like me. That was my girl too. So every day I'm just calling my mom and my friends like, I don't understand this. This is so stupid. I ain't never worked a job. Like, just stuff I wasn't used to. I was angry. Then I got angrier at the end of the year, but that's a whole nother separate video. That's going to be like what really led me into therapy. So I'm just angry. I'm depressed. I have no money. I'm mad at myself. I let myself go. I really didn't take pictures of myself last year. I think last year was like the heaviest I've ever been. I just didn't even care how I was dressing. I just felt down and out. So then, this is what, October 17th? So yeah, around this time, maybe like probably this week or so, I get up to go to work. And like I said, my bills were late. And then it's $9.50. And when you work like at schools, it's not like most jobs where you get paid, like you either get paid that, like if you start within the pay day week, you get paid, or you gotta wait 2 weeks. It's like, no, boom, you have to work, like miss this check and then catch up to the other check or something like that. So now I have to wait for a measly $400 Like, it's something, but it ain't what I need to get my bills paid. Instacart was not cutting it. It just wasn't cutting it at all. So I get up to go to work, and I'm like, no, my mom was like, where's your car at? I said, what? She said, where's your car? So I just went back upstairs because I already knew what that meant. My car was repossessed. I had talked to my dealership people before, like the week before, and they told like it was in a repossession state, but it was just some misinformation. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to work today. I was expecting it to happen, but it was the fact that it happened. I was in shock. So I called my cousin. I'm just like, yeah, my car got repossessed. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. Just won't have a car, but I'll figure it out or something. And she was like, you know, like, we all been there before. I understand X, Y, and Z. And so I just sat there in my room the whole day. And luckily, one of my came back around, and they live close to where my job was at. So between him and my mother, they were able to, like, she would take me up to, I had to be to work at 9. So she would take me up to his house, and I didn't have any money. And I think that speaks to somebody's heart and character, because I hurt this person. Like, I really hurt this person a year before, and the fact that he got out of like his bed and everything and made sure I had breakfast, it would come get me on my lunch break and like get me lunch and everything. I think that really speaks to somebody's character, and I will always appreciate that. So I was going through that and just trying to keep a smile on my face, but stressed out, still dealing with other stuff. And I'm so thankful for the mother that I have, because she got my car back, and I called my cousin to take me to go get it. Because honestly, you know, sometimes I always say I make my life harder for me than what it had to be. Because I'm like, you know what? I don't even want that car anyways. I have a good first car. and I did not take care of my car at all. And it's still running. It's like, what, almost 8 years old now? But I'm like, I don't want that car. I'll figure it out. It's like, girl. Like, me, my mindset today is just like, it's no judgment. It's just like, girl. Like, what was you going through back then? But it all was connected to irresponsibility, but also just a lack of confidence and self-esteem. So I get my car back, and I'm like, you know what? I can't do this, because the job was driving me crazy. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go apply to this one place. I'm always researching new things, or like what I might be interested in. So in my field is a thing called a registered behavior technician, which is basically, it deals with like people who have an autistic diagnosis, and you work with them to just, in a sense, like fix maladaptive behaviors. Not fix, but help them navigate their maladaptive behaviors. A lot of people have 50-50 views on it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a registered behavior technician. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I saw that they had this position open. And the lady, I did not apply to it. She emailed me like, hey, I'm such and such over X, Y, and Z, and we have this position over. I think you'll be a good fit. Would you like to come in and interview? I said, yeah, I'm taking it. I'm out of here. So long story short, I interviewed for it, got it the same day. Now the place in my area, a lot of people know to kind of not go work there, because it's high behavior. So on the one end, you have autism, and then you have on the other side the at-risk youth and young adults. So two different sides, but two extremes within itself. And on my side, we had a cottage with at first it was six teens, and then they merged them. So you have different teams with different like lower and high functioning capabilities. That equals lots of restraints. And they got put into restraints because of when their behaviors would escalate to the point it wasn't a safety to us or the other clients. I got into one restraint and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I got kicked in the back of my ear. I done been through some things. Okay, I done been headbutted at work. I done been scratched up. But I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. And then I had started school. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm not happy here. It was just some other stuff going on. So what did I do? I quit. Stressed out again, because it's like, why did you just do that? I quit, what was it? 2 days after Valentine's Day this year. So I'm catching this up. I quit. I'm like, girl, you are not about to do this again. So I'm back to doing Instacart. I'm like, this ain't about to work. This ain't gonna work. I remember my old coworker, she used to post that somebody she knew had like a job opening, and that's kind of like in the sense where they say like have a network, use your network. So, and she was real with me. She was like, you know, the pay not that great, but X, Y, and Z. I was like, at this point, I have to take what I can get. I need something that fit with my school schedule. So it was a third shift. It was 101. Still working with more so intellectual disability. Now with some stuff like my car got towed a few times. I'm working my job, going to school, and I quit the other job in February and start this job March to April. So I'm in school. And like I said, I'm going to do a whole other video on what really like led me into therapy. So I'm in school and I'm finishing up therapy. But now with school, I am in an environment where, well, my focus is not really there all the way. It's something new. I'm feeling insecure, intimidated. I'm in a class full of loud kind of masculine energy girls. I met two girls who they call us like SD besties or like the quiet crew, whatever, but they real cool. Hey girls. I met them, I talked to them. So I'm dealing with that, trying to get my confidence up, but it's like even the teacher I had, it felt like she was more so trying to ride the wave of like the girls who kind of like high school. Honestly, if you went to beauty school, let me know in the comments because that's a whole other journey within itself. It just felt like the teacher was trying to ride certain people's ways, and it's like, you're older than them. I don't know, it's weird. So I'm dealing with that, and now let's get into why we moved. But I finished therapy and my mental it was starting to get better. I'll say that. I was diagnosed. I believe that we all go through bouts of depression, or we have like days where we are depressed, but I'm not medically diagnosed with depression. Anxiety, I knew, and that's something I'm still working through till this day. So I was diagnosed with mild to moderate anxiety, and like I said, I'm still working on that as well. So moving. So when we first moved in, our landlord, he was cool, I guess, had a property manager. And then at some point a few years ago, it was like, oh, his properties have gotten taken away from him. And it's like, okay, you have all these properties. Somewhere along the line, you weren't managing what you had. So we started to get different companies that would like get the properties and manage them, but they didn't really keep up with everything they were supposed to. We didn't have to pay the water bill at our place. They were in charge of it. So with the one company, you had it like, oh, we got a disconnect notice. And at that time, I was not paying rent. It was my mother and my cousin for both units. And they talked to the people or whatever. And then this year, it happened probably one time at the end of 2021, and then at the beginning of this year, and then the last time it happened, which was around late March. I was going to school, pulling out. The guy was like, you know, your water about to get cut off. And who wants to hear that? Especially, like, I tell a lot of people, I grew up in a household where my mom paid our bills. She made sure everything was paid. So I didn't grow up with my water or like my lights being cut off. The only time it happened was like things out of our control, honestly. So I'm like, okay, hold up, let me go. Like, I explained to him, okay, like, we don't pay our water bill, so who should we call? And let me just go tell my mom. And he was nice. I think he kind of like killed off on it a little bit, but he had to do his job, which I'm like, I understand. So, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this about to be like the other times where they didn't pay the bill. We're also trying to sell our property, which if I had the money, I would buy that property. Honestly, I want to buy that property because they redid it. If I had the money back then, I would buy that property. So they were also trying to sell the property, and they kept telling us that they had buyers and everything, but people were, they were like showing the house, but 1 + 1 wasn't equaling up to 2. And then, so our water is off for 1 day, and our water is off for 2 days, and 3 days. No water means that you cannot wash your body, wash your hands, use the bathroom, cook your food, wash dishes, wash your clothes, a lot of stuff. And it sucks when, like I said, you are being the responsible adults that the world tells you to be, but you have other people managing where you live at because you don't own it. So, and they don't care because they're not being affected. So we reached out to, and it's a Black-owned real estate or whatever company. Looked them up. Their reviews were horrible. But then when you look them up on social media, it's like you're just collecting this money, living your best life, but you don't care about the tenants at all. So we sent a lot of messages, calls. The people in the office were just like really nasty, not helpful, not returning phone calls. We're calling, all of us are calling the water department, and they're talking about, like, you know, until we get Mr. So-and-so on the line, we can't do anything, or you guys can pay the bill. But we're like, it was never on us to pay the bill. That's not in the agreement. And it's not fair to us because that's something you became responsible for, and you know that. And it's like, that's what part of the rent money goes to. It's all in that budget. So it's just like, what are you doing? And like I said, when you look them up online and see that they're living their best life, it really hits you. But it also, for me, honestly, it made me angry, and it put a fire under me too, because it's like, I don't want my living situation to be controlled or be at the hands of somebody else. And it also really taught me, like, having your finances in order. It really did. And I'm happy that my mom and my cousin were where they were for us to move. But moving wasn't easy because a lot of places, this is now going like end of March into May. Honestly, we moved June 1st. There weren't really many places open for living. A lot of them were like, the places that were open weren't really the best places. And then some things were like, oh, July, oh, August. Nobody's about to live like this for 3 more months or whatever. And I am happy for the people that we had. Like I had my friend at the time where I was able to utilize his place to shower, wash my clothes, and also our neighbor, like leaving his key and just allowing us to come get water. Like we had to buy water jugs and everything, like fill up water. And also it's such an inhumane experience. Like, you know, you have to use the bathroom 1 and 2, not to be graphic, but like having to hold that, and then also not, it's just very inconvenient. It's very inhumane. So that helped me to, that's what started to help me, sorry. That's what started to I try not to get kind of angry still thinking about it, but it helped me to start switching my mindset and just growing and elevating. Yeah, it was tough, y'all. Like I left school. I had to take a leave of absence, and I stopped creating because I was just dealing with that. I was like, I feel like my mental was going up here, but I'm coming back down here and everything. But through it all, like nobody really knew unless I told them about it. I always tried to keep a smile on my face. And then the job I had, they were doing things where it's like, oh, you guys don't sign the books, blah, blah, blah. We're going to hold your paycheck. Like, I'm only getting paid $600 every 2 weeks, which that was on me. I'm never a victim with anything. Then the day, like, school was just going down the drain for me. My living situation was down the drain. The day, luckily I had sold like an iPad because I was going to school. I was going to finish out that day and then take my leave because you have to have a certain percentage rate. And I wake up, they towed my car from my client house. So that's another obstacle. And I was just over it. Over it. I was so over it. So I just took my leave or whatever, and we found the place where we live at now, which was actually, and so I always say this in a sense, like, one, be careful what you ask for, but also it's like a 2-for-1. So I wanted to move where we live at currently here by myself, the same model and everything, just a 1-bedroom. And it's like, in a sense, I got what I wanted, which I'm grateful for, and I got my own bathroom now. But it's also, you know, everything has its things that come with it. But it's like I got what I wanted, but I am grateful we were able to move. It was definitely a adjustment. We all had like I think the whole house kind of had like attachment issues with each other. We had to adjust to that, and yeah, it was like, so we moved. That was stressful. Like, if you never seen your family stress you out, move together, pack a whole house together, move together. Yeah, it was stressful. I can laugh about all of it now. Even when we moved it's a 2-bedroom, but when we first moved, my brother was still living here, and I was irritated by that because he got the room, I didn't get the room. But luckily I had my other friend who used to live in this complex, and the first night he let me crash on his couch and everything, like just what a friend is supposed to do, I would say. He let me crash on his couch, all of that. This plant is actually, anyways, yeah. So I was thankful for that. And then I finally, like, bit by bit, I started, like I said, my esteem and confidence was down here, and bit by bit I started to build it back up. I'm still building it back up. But I remember my one client, he had picked up a job, they call it like day program, and he picked up a job, and I was on my way to his house, and thankfully I only lived 10 minutes away from where he lived at. And it was like, oh, I didn't know such and such got a job, which means if he got a job and I'm working certain hours now, that's affecting my money, and now I pay rent. So my brain is like, you know what, I'm not doing this. And I learned that I stay in things way longer than I should stay in them, which I'm still, well, I think I kind of got that memo now. So it was this company from the year before. I kept putting an application in, so I just kept hearing, not now, not now. So when she texted me that morning, it was like, go to that interview. I went to the interview and I went back into the group home setting. And sidebar, don't be afraid to work in this field, honestly, because it's good money in this field. It's a certain freedom you have working as a DSP or a direct support professional in a group homes. It's unlimited overtime. I keep saying I'm gonna write a book called Same House, Different Company. It's the same things apply. So don't sleep on it, for real. But have a genuine heart for it. Because if you don't, don't do it if you don't. But I applied to the job, and I'm a third shift person, which I just got back on third shift. So I applied to the job, and of course I got it. It's easy to get into. You got a clean record and everything. I got it. I was back at the pay rate I wanted to be at for now. And I just started rebuilding my life. I met my friend there. I met some cool people, 2 cool people, I'll say. Hey, y'all. I met my friend there. She's been a big help to me, honestly, helping me just navigate everything. I started that in June. I want to say started in June. My birthday rolled around. We'll get more into that. My recent blog post on my website is an introduction into all of that. I went to Houston last month with my friends, and yeah, my life is just totally different. Shay was not happy. I was not happy. I was angry, and there was more anger, and we'll talk about that too. But this was just a quick little life update, and be sure to look out for this little simple everyday makeup look that I just did. Yeah, so I'm definitely in a better space now. I will say my trigger, for sure, I have different goals I'm working on, but I will say that my trigger for sure, because my mom texted me the other day like the water's off. I was like, no. For all of us, it's just like, I don't ever want to hear we got to turn off the water or the water is off. So it's really like, don't take for granted the necessities that you have. Be grateful for every little thing that you have, because you just never know when life is going to life. And also, I want to leave the tip too of being financially prepared and aware. I actually, because like I said, I had to really, I'm still undoing a lot of things with my mental to get to I'm still doing a lot of things with my mental, like with deconstructing and rebuilding to get to where I want to be. But I really decided to get serious with my finances. And I remember I was praying, I'm like, God, I don't really, like, I did my own research, and for me, my brain kind of works, it's like a light bulb goes off, because I can read something and might not understand it, but it's, if somebody like know, like if that's their field or thing, they know what they're talking about, and they bring it to me, I'm like, oh, I'm able to connect it. So I was praying, I'm like, God, you know, I need a financial advisor, honestly, because I'm all about retirement, and I like to figure things out. I'm a researcher. I like to learn. I love learning. So I'm like, God, I need a financial advisor to just help me kind of navigate my financial mapping for my life, for my future family, my future kids and everything. And I sat down and I did it. If I could find a link, I will link who I use in my description box as well. But I would just say, start looking at different financial things, like financial mapping, like 6 months, 3 to 6 months savings, Even just a month of savings to start with, because with our situation, how we had to do a emergency move, you never know when life is going to life on you. Look into like this, like it's kind of disability with income protection, like all of that stuff. Look into it, start setting yourself up. Even today, the whole thing I keep hearing is like positioning. Make sure you are positioning yourself. The younger you start, the better, but it's still never too late to start. So once again, this is Shay, and I am back with Shay Say. I hope that you guys stay tuned. My next video will be this makeup look, and then after that, it's going to be what really led me into therapy. And if you have not already, check out shaysay.com. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.